Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
Joe. Yeah.
That's right. I feel like people trying to put the mojo on us. There's another far more established morning podcast on Wednesday mornings. I didn't see Samson's episode yesterday, but Brian's episode, excuse me. I guess he had no sound. I don't know what people are talking about, but I feel like they've cursed us. They put a little pox on us, We have to see if we can fight through it this morning.
What's happening? Because our man in Moscow is saying the sound is off. I think it's on
he's
his
lying.
It's on his. It's on his.
No, it's in his head. It's on. That's what I'm saying. He's trying to put the pox on us of this curse.
Okay. A little inside. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
What's happening? How was your week? What's happening? This is it.
It's
baby.
A good week. I know. It's Thursday morning. I'm good. Things are. I have this sort of ongoing evolutionary belief that I kind of things get challenging, and then you figure things out, and you handle those challenges. So you get to this plateau, and then they get challenging again because you kind of level up. I like this theory that when things are tough, it's because I'm doing more and doing better stuff. And I just got to learn how to do more and better. And I sort of feel like right now, famous last words, this is going to curse. Speaking of curses that I shouldn't even speak of, I feel like right now, yeah, I know. I feel like right now I got my stuff in order. The business is working. I sold a bunch of rodents this week. Sold a snake or two. And I had a good show on Sunday down in Des Moines. Yeah, snakes, rodents, Des Moines, Iowa.
How was Des Moines?
Like a Hunter S. Thompson novel, right?
Yes, snakes, rodents, in Des Moines.
Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah.
How was Des Moines? What was that like?
Des Moines was good. It's a smaller show. There's a promoter. His name is Jason, and his promotion is Cold Blooded Expos. I'm not real familiar with him. I've done 3 of his shows now. He picks good areas, really good venues, and gets people in the door. And that's about all you can ask from a promoter. The rest is kind of on you. It was good, man. I do it. It was a long day, man. 3.5 hours there, then 7-8 hours, 3.5 hours back, man. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I hate admitting that. That is the worst to admit. Oh, it was my birthday last week too. Since we last talked, right. I got older, man. How about that, huh?
Right. I completely forgot, and I saw it. I don't know, on social media or something, and I still didn't reach out to you and say happy birthday. I'm terrible at that stuff.
Chelsea sent her best on behalf of you both.
I figured, and I think I saw that, and I was like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough from this. That you get a happy birthday from the household.
I didn't make up this thought, and it's a really downer, cynical thought, but I kind of liked it. So I'm stealing this. I didn't create this thought. I don't really get, when you think about it, there's literally, and I'm using the word appropriately, not the way that kids, ruin the word literally. Literally, every person on this earth has only one thing in common, and we've all done it, and that's be born. What the hell are we doing with all this celebration all the time? Congratulations, you're alive. Like, there's 9 billion of you that were born and are alive. Woohoo!
Well, for a large part of I don't know. Maybe it was to make it to your ripe old age. It was more of a celebration a while back, and now it's not so much. So maybe as you get older, when you get into 80s, 90s, 100, then you go,
now I'm accomplishing something. Now, Jessica did bring up that we do all poop. So there's 2 things. We poop and we were born. There we go.
And like I mentioned a few weeks ago, we all feel the restlessness, the discontent of life, of where we are and where we should be. What a way to start the day, folks.
I know. Bringing the sunshine here, man. It's dark. I'm in Minnesota. I just tried to say how how orderly I feel like I have things, and we've gone there. We've done this.
What about what did you do for your birthday?
I prepped for the Des Moines show. No, I went Friday night. Kelly and I we went out for dinner. We jettisoned the kid, and we just had a nice evening together.
Love jettisoning those kids.
Oh yeah, just had to. He's finally at the age, and I'm just like, look, man, here's a video game. Just hang out, man. See ya. And that's it. He does, and it's good. We have a really cool something that I haven't experienced really in life before. We have this like neighborhood like enclave. Like if there's an emergency, he can just run to the other person's house, kind of deal. And they're cool people, and we know them. And so. I know really like in Florida, I probably wouldn't, we probably wouldn't be quite ready for that situation. But here I'm like, the restaurant's 2 blocks away. You got your phone. If there's a real emergency, run to the neighbors, dial 911, then call us. That's there's your order.
So why not in Florida? What's your take there? If you were in Florida,
I didn't know. It was all about. I didn't know the neighbors. I lived there for years. Didn't know the neighbors. Didn't have a relationship. Pretty standoffish stuff. I don't know. It was just different.
I think we talked about this last week, but Florida is one of those places that it's fun to kind of crap on, but everybody actually really loves it. When they visit. Did we mention that last week?
It's been a couple of weeks, and honestly, my comment really had nothing to do with Florida, other than that just happened to be the factual location I was in. But
I latched onto it. Onto it. Yeah.
It could have been any town USA. It just happens to be a good situation. It's a circumstance I hadn't experienced before.
I wasn't saying that you were crapping on Florida. But I was going to say that I do think Florida is less neighborly than other places.
I was going to say I have a list if you want to go through it. We can. I didn't really show prep that today, but I could throw one up on the wall. We're pretty quick, man.
I love it. It's just less neighborly than. I mean, they like to think that they're Southern. And we have the Southern hospitality. I don't think there's Southern hospitality here. There's Southern hospitality in probably Georgia and North Carolina, Virginia, but not Florida. Anyway, I celebrated your birthday with a few bottles of wine on Friday night, even unknowingly celebrated your birthday.
I didn't want to ruin the mood when Chelsea did send me a picture of the bottle of Camus, and I wanted to reply, did Joe buy that? Because if he did, that's snake money right there that you're drinking. But I didn't. I don't want to make everything about me. I mean, I already have 2 podcasts that I do a week. I think I've fulfilled enough of making things about me.
It's really funny though, because I did buy it, and I was like. And it's a pricey bottle, and so I go, oh, should I really do this? And I go, of course I should. I do a podcast every Thursday morning. This is why I did it.
Yeah, that's right. You've earned it. It's right there. Yeah, next. It's not like that's not the first, and it's not the last bottle of wine she'll send me a picture of. I'll get her with it one of these days.
Yeah, we got a nice group going this morning, 24, and let's talk to each other. Let's hear the chatter on the the chat box.
That's the chat.
That's the chat. And let's hear the chat. Yeah, talk to each other. What's going on? I'm excited to be here. And we got what do we got coming up? We got Tampa Repticon.
Dude, it's a big show for you. Yeah. All right. So. Yeah, well, I was going to talk about the audience, but I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, all right. So, what are you doing for Repticon, man? What's happening?
I'm just strolling on Sunday. I mean, I don't have a table or anything like that.
On my end, I don't know if the audience heard it. On my end, it froze up a little bit there, right where you had any bit of content of what you were going to do. Say that again. Is it Sunday that you're going to the Repticon?
I'm just strolling through on Sunday. Yeah, I don't have a table or anything like that, but but I'm
Gotcha.
just gonna go check it out. That's all.
Um,
And any listen, if anybody is going to be there from our Thursday morning get-togethers, and you notice me, stop me because I only know you by chat, except for a few of you. I've met a few of you. I only know you by chat. So stop me and say, "Hey, proper cup of Joe." It would make me feel like a celebrity a little bit. That would be really fun.
it's gonna be, man. If guys, if you do spot him, like, turn on your video and then walk up to him. Like, I want video of the awkward introduction would be really good.
Oh, hold back rack podcast. I'm thinking t-shirt because I'm not representing on the show. I come in a sweater, nothing really. I got to represent on the show. So
Yeah, you would think at some point Adam might have tried to supply you with a t-shirt. I do have some on order. I'll
at
get you
least,
one.
at least for proper royals, yeah.
Right, I could. It's the least I could do. I mean, I do have. No, I just re-upped on t-shirts, and man, they're to get it's so crazy to get a reasonable price. You have to go absolutely broke. Like, you got to spend $1,000 to get the t-shirts down to a reasonable price, which
Really?
is yeah, that's its own conundrum and catch-22. We could do an episode on that probably already.
And I'm a large person. I take a 2XL, so yeah, and sometimes it's just not available. So,
I got one coming.
but you know what? Hats. I mean, I'll take a look at some hats. I mean, I
That's
always
true.
I always like buying hats. So,
I don't have any of those. All seriousness, you got to go by. I know for sure Sundog Serpents. That's Sarah and Josh. They'll be vending there.
oh yeah,
And they are.
I've met them.
Yeah, you've met them, and they're in the promotional flyer. You'll see a Proper Royals table. They're at the Proper Royals table at the Tampa Repticon.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
And they're vending right next to a guy that we do see sometimes in the audience. I think the layout in Tampa might have changed, but I think this is all 75% certainty. They're vending right next to a guy named Jeremy Bod from Bod's Exotic Reptiles.
Oh yeah, I know Jeremy. Cool.
Yeah. And he's right across the aisle from a dude named Steve Casino, who doesn't watch the show, but has been very good to me. And there's another guy named Dale at Constricted Reptiles. But there's a lot of cool people in there in Tampa. That's a really great show that you're going to go see.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'd be my first. I mean, I'm losing weight, so that is part of.
I was going to ask how the 2024 resolutions are going.
Well, I hit a plateau there. I got down like 25, and then I hit a plateau. I went up a little bit, and then, and I think it was because I don't know. I think January ended, and I was like, let me just go and eat pasta, and then
let me drink some Camus and eat a fettuccine Alfredo.
And then this past week, I've dropped some pounds, but for the wrong reason. Somebody said, let's see, somebody has the flu. Cotton, Reptile Brothers, got the flu from the kiddo this past week. I get a bit of a something going on because, yeah, dropped a little weight.
Back to everybody poops.
It's full circle. That's how we do it here.
That's what we do. You start, you go a long way, and you tee it up for Jessica.
Back around. You go back over here. You circle back, get back over here. That's it. That's how we do it.
So I think the number of people in the audience is very cool this morning, and I know audience, you're probably going, it's 26 people. Like, don't get ahead of yourself, Adam. I know. Trust me. I got a show that brings all the people. That's fine. But I'm interested because last night when I was writing the show, I was like, man, what's a nifty hook? How do I, this is a really nerdy topic. And then I was like, you know what? Just do your thing, Adam. If it's exciting, if it's interesting, if you and Joe are on board, just write what it is. Don't worry about the hooks and the clicks. And I was like, man, this is pretty nerdy stuff. Like if you had asked me even what the hell I'm talking about today, I would have been like, I don't really know what that's called. So I had to do some research. I certainly wouldn't have come up with inflection points. And now there's 25 people here. So I'm like, all right, maybe it's luck. Maybe it's just a crazy Thursday morning where everybody just happened to have nothing better to do. But I feel like people are engaging and they're like, all right, I want this nerdiness. So like, what do they say? Like is it niche or niche? We're going to niche down. We're going to get nerdy in this thing.
Yeah. And I mean, did you write a description? Because you wrote a description to me. I just saw the title this morning, Inflection Points.
Yeah, I did.
And
I put a little description.
I had to look the word up, frankly.
Right. But that's my point. Exactly. Like
I had kind of an idea. I had an idea.
Bit of a nebulous, yeah. A bit of a nebulous topic. But I even show prepped and I drew a little chart. Like I tied it all together in my head this morning. I was like, all right, where am I going? I can't just like wander around with Joe philosophicically for an hour. So I need to have a little roadmap, right?
Fun.
I know that's it's kind of what we do. Yeah, don't let the secret out. All right, so before we jump into that, let me tell you about hey, Cold Blooded Cafe. They take care of me with a little swag, unlike what I've done for Joe without t-shirts. But check out Cold Blooded Cafe. I do feed my adults frozen thawed. I start on my babies on ASFs, and as soon as I could get the frozen thawed rodents, I do. And I source all mine from Cold Blooded Cafe. I've been a customer of theirs long before I was in business with them, and I think you should give them a try because it's high quality. All the rodents are produced in-house, and you're going to get 11% off of your order if you use the promo code proper11 at Cold Blooded Cafe. Heads up, you do have to log in. You do have to make a email with them to get the discount. But hey, that's a pricey little bit of money that they're going to give you a discount on an average order in the several hundreds of dollars. So Proper 11 for 11% off. Cold Blooded Cafe. Check it out. Also, Kreative Genetics. That is Keith out in Fresno, California. I hope you haven't slid into the Pacific Ocean yet. Provided that you haven't, you guys should check out Keith. He is working with the Stranger Gene in a variety of recessive projects. I have several snakes of his, one on loan, one that I own. Clown VPI, a Xanthic going to the ladies. This is an exciting breeding season that, speaking of inflection points, that's on my list that loaner from Keith was able to provide. And also I've got an Xanthic het clown that I bought from him to grow up, and that one's back in the shell too. So check them out. You can find them on Morph Market, Kreative Genetics. Thanks for hanging out. We lost a couple of y'all in the promos, but the promos kind of the oil in the machine. I got to say, like you and I might be the gas, Joe, but we need a little oil sometimes, you know?
A little oil. Hey, that's a good analogy. I don't know why I'm surprised, but
be surprised because I talk in gibberish and analogies most times.
One thing that before we get into inflection points,
right,
is what? So I'm picking up that even with your the promo of Kreative Genetics, that we've talked a lot about the relationship between the seller and the customer, right? But then there is, and we've talked a little bit about kind of this collegial relationship among breeders and sellers. So what causes you to go, okay, I'm going to take one of your snakes and I'm going to give you one of my, is that like a trade that you have with Kreative Genetics? And then if you get like an offspring, like, so whose offspring is it?
Okay. So
how does that work?
There's a lot of questions there. Every arrangement's different. So I've done different breeding arrangements with different people. The one and I'm not going to share some details because frankly, I wouldn't say proprietary, but I might not agree to the same. I don't know. I don't want to set expectations that other people would feel let down by, I guess is the best way to put it. But no, Keith's is a loan to me. He specified a couple requests that I agreed to that he would get first dibs on should they be produced. And then,
Okay.
so we have a pre-negotiated agreement of these things would pay Keith back and these things would be Adam's. And I kind of
Okay.
have, like I say, I kind of have to leave it there because I don't, I don't, if Keith ever wanted to come on the show and talk about it, that's fine. But it's, an agreement between, like, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable sharing some of that because
Yeah.
sometimes I want people to be able to do business with Adam and not everything becomes a show,
Right. I'm curious about how those conversations start or how those conversations go. I mean, do
Oh,
you meet with somebody, or like you start talking with somebody and they go, I have this kind of snake. And then you go, it would be really cool. This is my imagining. This is what I imagined on. It'd be really cool is I have this other kind of snake where we put those two snakes together and see what happens.
right. Okay.
That's
So
exactly what happens, or no?
sort of, yeah, but this actually does play into the inflection point topic today. So I made a list in
Both.
no particular order. I forgot which camera was which, of just various inflection points. And on the left is professional inflection points, and on the right is inflection points in my life. One of them on the list is Keith calling and reaching out to me. The audience will probably grasp it a little bit. Grasp it. You could grasp it, Joe, but we'll empathize a little bit quicker than you will. Keith has a VPI axanthic visual male breeder male. That's double recessive visual. So all the babies in the worst case scenario will at least be double het for clown and axanthic.
Okay.
It's an expensive snake. I was not going to shell out the money to buy it. And for whatever reason, Keith said, I don't have plans for it this year. What if I ship it to you and you put it to work? Now, my thought on the show of inflection points, and inflection points for the audience, I didn't make up this definition. Generally paraphrasing, they are moments that change the future trajectory of whatever the context is. In this case, business, but sometimes life. And they could be good trajectory, or it could be a bad it could be a good inflection point or a bad inflection point. It changes the future outcomes. And the fact of the matter is, in ball python breeding, we always talk about advancing building projects. At best this year, and again, this is sort of for the benefit of the audience, roll with me, Joe. At best this year, I had hoped that I had an axanthic het clown male. It turns out he's too small. I couldn't have used him, so I wouldn't have had that at all. So I went from pretty good males to this particular male that changed my breeding program, because as long as he's eating and I keep him healthy and I'm trying to be judicious with how I use him, I can use those genes through many multiple females. I actually have plans throughout the year to breed them with 7 females. Audience, don't worry, I'm not breeding them 7 at a time. That'll be from now through September. But, and so the thought on the show today was there's inflection points that we go create and that are known. I'm going to buy a house and I see it through. That's probably an inflection point in life. So there's the ones that you create and the ones that you know. Then there's the ones that find you, but you still know their inflection points. Hey, I won the lottery. It found me, but I know it. That's going to change my life. Okay. There's ones that you create that maybe you don't know are inflection points, and in retrospect become inflection points.
Yeah.
And then there's ones you have no idea that they're inflection points and they found you. And those are pretty neat. And those are what I'm wondering if there's a way that we can create them.
Wait, say the last category one more time. So then there are those.
They find you rather than you go finding them. So the inflection point comes to you, and you have no idea that it's an inflection point until many years later when you look back, the trajectory has changed and you go, man, I had no idea what an inflection point that was going to be. And I remember, Chelsea might not, I remember I was a new kid at a new school. And we were in this IB program, these nerds high school program, and we were bussed in from all around the city. So not only was I at a new school, nobody even lived near me. I didn't know anybody. And I was the kid with weird long hair, and here's this hip person that seems to be fairly popular. She comes and says hi to me on the bus. And that was Chelsea. And here I am, literally 30 years later with a morning podcast with her partner named Joe. That was an inflection point that I didn't create. I didn't know it was an inflection point at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an example of one. So getting back to the example of Keith, because of the show, I had done a breeding pairing show. One of the nerdy things I do on Tuesday nights is one of the episodes was I went through every pairing. You think we talk about genes now, you should hear that show. This had this, so this had that, blah, blah, blah. We could get this and this percentage. It's exhausting, man. So we do that for like 30 animals pairing. And if I fries my own brain with those kinds of details, it's like looking at spreadsheets all day. After a while, you just go, man, I'm good. I just tap out.
Right.
And so Keith reaches out to me and he goes, I've got the perfect male for you. And let me say with total transparency, I can't stand breeding deals. I don't like them. I don't like to do them. I don't, that's me. It has nothing to do with the other people. I'm terrified that something's going to happen to that snake. It's a very expensive snake. It's several thousands of dollars. The dollars is one thing. The disappointment to the other person's another thing. To your point, how do you decide who gets what?
Right. Yeah.
Who gets, does Keith trust me if I tell him, dang, we missed that? Yeah. How do I know, Adam? You're 1,000 miles away. The snake's just in one of your drawers there. You got it. Okay. What do we do about that? So the level of trust, the level of concern, just the logistics and details, it just adds to life. It adds to the headaches, the challenges. So I don't really like doing them. So the breeding program has to be enticing enough to overpower my, general dislike of the whole thing. And it was kind of a funny story because Keith called me and pitched this to me. And I had worked up, I was like, all right, I'll take your call. And I had worked up that speech and explained that to him. I misunderstood though the snake that he had. He had left it in the comments, and I was like, "This is very generous of you. No thanks. I don't want to do any of this." Blah blah blah. And he was like, "No. You didn't hear me right. It's a clownizanthic." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Can you unhear everything that I just told you? Because I would like to take this in a different direction, kind of deal." So, but that's how that came to life. So, in that way, how did that get cultivated? Well, okay, I put things out there. I'm transparent about what I'm looking for. And then somebody else took the initiative to come knocking to create that inflection point. So, all right, there's the stage setting. How do we create these? How do we cultivate these? How do we identify what are inflection points?
So I'm interested, and before I react to that, I'm interested in the chat and asking the chat, is this regular behavior among the community? And can you share your, I don't know, what would you call it? Breeding trades or breeding loans or something like that. I kind of want to hear more about, that kind of, I said the word collegial earlier, that kind of collaborative effort among breeders. I'm just curious about that.
I should give one caveat for some context as well. And so Jessica has a show called the Hold Back Rack podcast, and she's excellent and literally probably objectively far smarter and higher IQ than I am, and very analytical. And I really enjoy the stuff that she does. And I'm not saying that patronizingly. Seriously, like, talk about niching down into nerdiness. Like, she analyzes sale prices and does a sales report quarterly. It's fantastic. Jessica probably makes Jessica cringe when she hears breeding projects. She holds near and dear a topic called biosecurity. to her, nobody should be swapping snakes. There should not be snakes coming in and out of any collection. There's no way to do it 100% safe. And this should not be going on. So there's everything from, I love it. This is how you could get ahead, to don't do it. Don't touch it. Stay away. Yeah. So yeah, she suggests, now interestingly, she says mostly social risk, but the biosecurity stuff hurts her heart. So there's all of that context in the middle of it too.
Yeah. Understood. Gotcha. Inflection points, interesting. And especially the inflection point that you wanted to discuss a little bit, which was something that takes place that you don't realize that just happens, and then you discover it years and years later. It's funny. So the leadership development framework that I work with most is called connected leadership. And it's from this guy named Jim Sartain, and he's a good friend of mine, and he developed this leadership program, and he did these studies. And the main thing, I may have mentioned this earlier at a different podcast, but the main thing is the more self-aware you are as a leader, the more effective you will be, right? So finding, one of the things that we do in this leadership program is we try to find the inflection points of that person's history in leadership, right? So so we don't call them inflection points. We call them the antecedents of leadership. So the things that you can identify.
Oh man. So I thought I had a dry title that I didn't, I wasn't real sure what the response would be. The antecedents of leadership. So literally the things that happened before that got you to this point in leadership.
Yeah. And it's exactly those things that are like, you identify in your life that you go, well, was that the beginning? Was that the starting point? Was that, so we actually do this exercise where you kind of examine your life of leadership, and you look back and the more and more you do it, the farther back that you go. And so when I first did this, it was fun. It's like just a fun exercise just to examine, your history. And what I did was I went back to this particular moment in third grade when I made, like, I called out.
Did you lead an insurrection in third grade? You staged a walkout, great leadership.
Here's the interesting thing. It's not like these huge moments of leadership. It's recognizing that point, or that the internal motivation to lead, and what motivates you internally to lead. And I went all the way back to third grade, and I called out like some kind of joke or to a question. Like I made some kind of joke. I can't remember the joke, but I remember everyone laughed in the class. And I was like, everyone is laughing.
Feel power, right?
And I love the sound of everyone just laughing, this harmonious sound of everyone laughing. And it came from me. And like, that's the kind of, and so you look at that and you go, okay, so what does that mean? Like, why did I identify that moment as an antecedent of leadership? Why did I go, okay, I'm going to include that in my history there. And it's really how I love to lead. It's like, it's striking a chord. It's like, one of my favorite sounds is like leading a group in something and saying, this is what I want everyone to talk about, giving them a topic. And then to hear that noise of people like, what do you think of this? And blah, 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 blah. And you can hear that murmur in the room when you lead and that sound to me is just one of the greatest sounds ever. It's people communicating with each other. And, when you do stuff at work, it's like, oh, I got to be here. But sometimes you can hear the difference in the murmur. And when that murmur is really engaging, it's like, I did something. I'm connecting people. I'm striking a chord here that everyone is in tune with. And it's awesome.
Well, and those are those are the moments that really kind of define
so
a
inflection
culture.
points,
Oh,
yes, with
I'm sorry, your your audio cut out for just a minute on my end. I don't know if it did.
yeah.
Those that you're describing, you're right. Like, we can all get down about work, but those are the signs of good culture, when there is that collaboration, when there is that excitement, or when you can tap into that. And that doesn't happen on accident. That is a cultivated, practiced effort.
Mm-hmm.
And so is there a way, or should I go through, like, should I not like tell every story, but just like just to bring some more context to what we're talking about? Cause it still feels a little bit nebulous to me. Should I go through the list of like the proper
Yeah.
royals, inflection moments?
I would love to hear that. And I only bring up that story to say, I think that's an inflection moment for me. Years and years ago, being able to tell, this is what I love to do. I
Yeah.
like to strike a chord. I like to, and that moment of realization in third grade made me go, okay, I'm going to continue to do this forever.
When did you know that, though? Did you know it at the time? Or
No,
was it years later that you look back and you go, wait a minute, that was that magic moment right there?
it was years later. It was years later. It was, I don't know. I was in my 30s when I did the
Oh,
exercise
okay.
for the first time, and I was like,
Gotcha.
"Oh yeah, that was a moment that I've completely went in a different direction." Before that, I was like, "I want to be a good student, and I want to be like," but school had a completely different meaning after that moment.
Well, so third grade is really early to have that experience. I had like a similar experience maybe in high school. I can't think of it specifically, but where I was like, wait a minute, there's more to this than I just have to show up and get in line and be a good,
Yeah,
public school citizen. All right. So in no
let's go.
particular order, other than I'm going to hold back 3 or 4 of these because they fit into a different quadrant of what I was describing earlier. And I did make a little visual display that I'm going to post up here in a minute too. In no particular order, my relationship with Redline Shipping, my relationship with Cold Blooded Cafe, the move to Minnesota, clearly an inflection point. The move to Florida, from North Carolina back to Florida. I wouldn't say luck. A little bit of luck, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of whatever I'm trying to harness today. Can we create these moments? I came into a great situation where I was able to pick up another rodent rack, and a very high quality one, which they're very expensive. I mean, shipped and landed, I probably would have been in around $3,000 for that. And I had it on my budget to buy this year. I came into one for much less than that price, and it made it to where I can increase volume much quicker than I thought I was going to be able to. I feel like that's a very recent inflection point. This Proper Cup of Joe show, I don't know if you remember, because I hardly remember, because we were enjoying ourselves that evening, Joe. There was a moment on your back patio where I was like, and I don't think we knew each other. I don't think you knew me that well. And I was like, man, you and I should do a show where we just talk about stuff. And you're like, yeah, I don't get how that's a show. And I remember in my mind being like, I'm going to convince this guy that I'm going to figure out some way to harness and confuse him enough to jump in on this with me. And I mean that genuinely. We were out, like I say, late. So those are nobody knows this because they haven't experienced it. Me, Joe, Chelsea, we get together. I'd be out on tour. I'd be doing reptile shows. I just go visit. They're not that far from Busch Gardens. It was a good place. And I felt like part of my rent, they never charged me rent, but part of my rent was to have a pretty good meal and some good time. So I usually showed up with the artillery for such battles for the evening. And then we would partake. So if you ever saw me at a Tampa Repticon looking a little fuzzy the next day, blame it on this character right here. But we would have great talks, listen to great music, and just enjoy old friends all together. So I saw that one. Another inflection point, Kelly asking me directly, oh, you're going to breed ball pythons? And then what? You're going to sell them? Oh, who are you going to sell them to? How are you going to do that? How are you going to sell them? That was a real inflection point for me. And then I I would have to say buying, now I own ball pythons back in college, but jumping back in April 2024, I bought a banana pastel. We named him Quentin Quarantino. That was his name, right in the middle of the quarantine, Quentin Quarantino. That was the one that got me back into the whole big deal. Now, those all were pretty easy to identify as inflection points, and a lot of those, I moved from Florida. I knew that was going to be an inflection point. I created that. I found it. I went and did it. Boom. We'll see how it plays out here in Minnesota. But so, that's been it. There's a few though. And here's the, let me see if I could share this. Here's the little graphic that I'm trying to get to dial down to just, how do I make this happen? So pardon my gibberish, but I'm a big believer in just figure out how to convey something. So look, here on the left, inflection points that I created, inflection points that found me. I didn't create. They just came to me. Just total, okay. And then the inflection points that I knew were inflection points. So again, moving to Florida, I created it. I knew it. No surprise. And then the unknown ones. So there were unknown ones that I created. This unknown category is interesting. But then there's the unknown ones that I didn't know were inflection points. And in my opinion, they found me.
Found you. Okay. Okay.
And those are some neat things. So I made a list of a couple of those. And one of them that goes way, and some of these are important just because of chronology. They seem to be more important because they were at the beginning and then everything came after it. I don't know that everything is tied that came after it is tied to that. This guy, Jeremy Bott, I'd never met him, never knew him. I'd seen some of his YouTube videos and I knew he was down in Tampa. And I hadn't been able to book a guest on my show. I was just starting out on Tuesday nights. And I was like, don't quit, Adam. Just go do a solo show. Grunt it out, figure it out, go do a solo show. So I did it. And Adam talking for straight hour plus into the internet on a Tuesday night at 8:00. I didn't feel great about it. I didn't like it. Unsolicited. I'd never met Jeremy, never spoken to him in my life. And Jeremy's a pretty straightforward guy. Jeremy reaches out to me directly of his own volition and goes, there's not many podcasts I listen to, and there is nobody I've ever listened to for an hour straight. He goes, that was really good. That was really entertaining. You need to keep doing what you're doing. And you need to hear that. To this day, I remember it, man. It was the most incredible thing. And I'm not saying that I was ready to quit because it's not that dramatic. And I'm a pretty stubborn dude and I'll just keep doing stuff just to keep doing it. I think people have kind of noticed that about me. However, that was so fulfilling, empowering, and it was crazy because at the time I was like, oh, maybe this is just some nice cuddly dude in the hobby that just looks out for people. That's not really how I would describe Jeremy. He's a great dude. There's nothing wrong with Jeremy, but he's not just handing out, flowers, as the kids say, to every person that comes along. And so anyway, so we became good friends. He became I consider him kind of a mentor to me. He probably doesn't, but he's really helped me. And that was a real moment that found me, and I didn't know it at the time. It was just a comment on the YouTube channel, but that led to so many more things. So that was pretty cool. Let's see. I worked about a year and a half ago. I worked with a social media coach, and it was somebody cold called me. I never answer cold calls, and I damn sure don't answer cold calls from salespeople. And for some reason, this guy, he had done his homework on me. It was great. I mean, he really was like, I think I have a service that I can help you with, and I'd like to work with you. Here's who I work with. Here's the references you could check. I'm totally legit. And I think it was neat because he didn't throw a number at me. He was like, what if I could do that, what would that value be to you? And I was like, that's an interesting sales pitch. I'm intrigued. Let's talk more. And it actually helped. We've since ended that relationship very, very amicably. Very good. I still keep in touch with the guy. But he had some other business concerns that actually precluded working with me, which is a funny story that I probably need more time before. Time cures everything. I could tell that story one day, but I can't tell it right now. So my thought was, how do we cultivate these things that find you and they're unknown? How do we set the stage for that?
Yeah. So what's the application of this discussion? Like, okay, so those were really important things that happened, but I don't know how I mean, let's just take a look at the words that we're using. How do these points find you? Well, I guess you have to be visible. You got to make yourself visible, and you have to, I mean, the thing that you did and then that Jeremy got to you and said that's, you did something that was uncomfortable. I mean, you did something that you didn't think was going to work, and you did it. And I'm not saying that's the reason why you should do things, but making yourself visible so that things can find you is super important. How many writers or how many people who are artists on the inside are just are too worried about what people will think to actually share their art or share what's inside of them. And so to put yourself out there to be found, I think is a really important part of these inflection points, for sure. That would be one thing that would just remind, that would be one thing.
I think you're exactly right. And this is the part of the show where I haven't done more research on this. I don't know the magic answers, but I like working through it and thinking through it, both from your life and professional experience and mine as well. And I think that you're right. There is an accessibility and a transparency that leads to these things, I think, in a certain way. It's not going to lead to a new house dropping into my life. Maybe, I don't know. I guess if I put out there that I had a bunch of money and somebody was like, hey, here's an amazing investment opportunity, I guess so. But that's not the case. I don't have a bunch of money to invest in a house. So, but I think the point you put out there of an artist, that's pretty interesting. And something I've come to believe in, that maybe in time will be an inflection point. We worry so much about being terrible, disappointing people, sucking at what we do, or whatever the words are that we put in our heads, that we don't get out there and just do stuff. Yeah. And it was one thing the internet has taught me, and being in this space has taught me, the people that enjoy it are going to help. And the people that don't enjoy it really don't give a damn. Nobody really cares. And that's such a freeing thing, because when you start, or when I started, I was like, man, because all we do is read comment. Like, God forbid we go into the hell of a comment section of anything, right? It's just unhealthy. And that's what was in my mind. And it became this freeing thing when I went, the good people that I connect, not the good, well, they are good. You are very good people that we're connecting with. The people that I connect with, they're going to be supportive and connected. The people that aren't are probably going to just go on their own way. And the 1% that literally have nothing in life better to do than to write horrible messages to me, like, am I going to listen to those people anyway? So, and it's not to say I don't take criticism, and I do like feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. People are more than welcome to give that to me. But that was kind of a freeing moment. And not only was it a freeing moment, to your point, being accessible, being transparent, saying, if I hadn't done that pairing show and gone through all the boring, tedious notes, Keith wouldn't have gone, hey, I think I have a service to offer to you.
Right. Yeah.
So I like that. I saw a note from Shannon. That's Shannon at Green Dragon Brokers. He said it's a Johari window, and I've never heard that. I'm going to Google that. I don't, for all I know, that could be a tongue-in-cheek comment. I have no idea. I'm going to look that up and see what that is. I need to make one note from earlier. When it comes to breeding projects, my cynicism is founded in no factor experience. I've done a breeding project with Shannon. It ended wonderfully. No problems. Any problems that came were self-inflicted. hey, Shannon, I think this girl's pregnant, but I'm moving to Minnesota. Oh, that's good news, Adam. Thanks for telling me that. We had to figure out what to do with his female as I was busy moving 2,000 miles across the country. So I caused the any hiccups in that. Now the babies came out good. Everybody, it was a great situation. So I need to clarify and make sure nobody thinks that they're connecting points. So Shannon says, no, that's a legitimate comment. I'm gonna have to look up what that is. So this morning, which it's early now, and it means it was earlier when this happened, I was doing a little show prep, and lo and behold, what do I find? But I find this, and I haven't watched it. I haven't read it. I haven't anything. Let's see here. Where is it? I'm determined to share it.
And while you're looking for it, I also think there's another that you're touching upon with your and that everyone really talks about, which is surround yourself with people who are encouraging. Like those are the things. Even all of the inflection points that you mentioned involve other people. Even
that's a good point. Yeah, it takes other people.
Chelsea.
Nice. Yeah,
the Chelsea story. Jeremy's story, the story with Kelly, where she's like, now I would say that's, hard stuff though too, which is like, okay, how is this going to happen? What are you going to do? Now, I don't think Kelly was, I don't think Kelly, I could be wrong, but she's just asking hard questions. She's not going, don't do this, don't do this. She's just saying, okay, think it through. Think it through.
There's a little bit of don't do this.
Don't do this.
There's a little unspoken don't do this. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Okay. But she was open. There was an openness to it.
She was open to it. And people ask me, are you a one-man show? I'm like, well, day-to-day jobs I am, but having a supportive wife that allows this literal madness is all the support I could ever ask for in that way. So it's a great partnership.
Yeah.
You're right. And that's where some of these intangible, I was just thinking to myself the other day, how horrible like corporate networking opportunities are. You're going to go to these young business leader happy hours. Terrible, right? They're just garbage in my experience. And I was talking with somebody that I'm working with, and he is a realtor broker, and I work with him on his Instagram page. And we brought into context that, hey, a highly focused audience that saw your reel that is only 300-400 views, that's a way better connection than those garbage drunken happy hours where there's 20 people that don't have anything going on. You know what I mean? Like it's far more effective. And but I do, as cynical as I am towards networking, you're exactly right. One thing that all these inflection points do have in common is they involve other people, and you got to get out there. Maybe that's the core of how we create these.
The point is like the right people, though, the people that care about you, not the people that or care about what you're trying to do or care about your like
shared visions, shared missions.
Yeah. So Chelsea is a professor. I was with her as she went through her PhD program and all of that. The thing about now, I love academia. I love big thinking and thoughts, and I think it's fantastic. But the thing about academia is you're trained to be critical. You're trained to deconstruct. You're trained to go, okay, so what's wrong with your way of thinking? And let's get now. That's completely discouraging for somebody who's trying to think of something new. So you've got to put yourself in environments that are more like the improvisational environment. Okay, yes, and what is happening next. You want to put yourself in positions where you're with people who are exploring things together with you. I think those types of things produce more inflection points than
This is why I had to do a show
like
with
the
you.
internet.
This is why I had to do a show with you, Joe. Like, one thing that we kind of lucked into is both of our partners, my wife, Chelsea, are both academians, and they flourish in that. I don't, maybe Chelsea more than Kelly, but I don't know how much patience Kelly would have for a comedic improv session. Watching it, maybe. Participating, oh no. But that's an interesting analogy that you just made of, you got to have people that are growing ideas rather than deconstructing the ideas. And I'm not so sure that I want to put academia completely into the deconstruction of ideas, but I get what you're saying. That's a neat way to focus as well. So being transparent, being present, accessible, networking, for lack of a better word, and then networking with the right creative minds are where these, and when I say creative, it doesn't have to be song, artistry, painting. It could be business creative. It could be, it took creativity for Keith and I to figure out our deal on that breeder male. So
I think exploratory, I think, is a good word.
Yes. And open to exploratory. Yeah. Curiosity. That's a theme you and I have come across a lot, is staying curious.
Yeah.
So in my show prep this morning of Inflection Points, what do I come across but this book called Seeing Around Corners: How to Spot Inflection Points in Business Before They Happen. And let me tell you, had I discovered this little book and this little hour video, I wouldn't have done the show today. I would have said to myself, well, that's already been done, and a person wrote a book on it, so I can't do it better. What is neat, I won't call it an inflection point, but what is neat is now we've done this. I'm going to go watch and listen to this video, and who knows, if it's intriguing, I might just buy the book, because clearly it's on my mind. And this is literally what I asked myself. How do we see in the future? How do we cultivate these things? How do we make this happen? So I have no idea if it's any good. It appears to be by a woman named or a person named Rita McGrath. And that's all that I know about it. I can't recommend or disrecommend it at the moment, but I am going to watch that today. That'll be the content that I listen to while I'm cleaning and working today. So I thought that was neat that I came across that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where if you start thinking about stuff, you start seeing what's happening. Let's see. I'm not going to bring that up, but it's one of those things where you start to think about these things, talk about these things, and then they come to you. I think that's what we're talking about here. Like, even who knows? I'm interested as well. I know that we only have a minute left, but I'm interested as well. Like, what do people find are their own inflection points in chat? What are those things, either personal or professional, where they go, and you know what? Some of these things are negative things, like we were talking about last week. Like, was it a push into a business out of the thing that you were doing, or was it a jump?
Right.
And what was the push that was there? I think those can be inflection points as well. And often there are things that you don't identify. Sometimes there are things that you respond to emotionally,
Yeah, including on my list, which is a little bit of a deeper conversation and probably what I don't want to get into today, but on my personal side was the death of my mother, what I found to be a premature death, and I believe it from cancer. That was an inflection point in my life. Like it or not, for me, that's something that I've had to face. I've never called it being fired, but as my job went away unexpectedly one day. I don't know what else you could call that. Sometimes there was a little bit of more circumstance around it. That damn sure became an inflection point. And in the long run, that actually became a huge benefit. I look back going, that was not me anyhow. But in the moment, you don't feel appreciative of that. You don't feel that whatsoever. So these are not always comfortable and joyous occasions.
No, and I think that kind of honesty is really important too, because it tells you also who you are. I mean, there are mistakes that you make. There's things that you're doing or that you did do that are inflection points that you don't want to do again. So to look at those things and go, I don't want to be like that anymore, or this is changing me in a way that is antithetical to what I was doing before. I mean, those points are really important to be honest and true about as well.
Yeah, and those take reflection and introspection. So maybe we have to add that to our list as well. That's humility. Those are hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those are hard. Man in the mirror conversations kind of thing. So
yeah, that would be a Johari window moment.
I don't know. I mean, to me, the future is brightening allelic combinations. You got to put it on. Like, I want to hear the story next week of you putting that on somebody with a straight face and meaning it and seeing the conversation through. I want to hear what the reaction is.
No way that I could continue that. See, I wouldn't be able to extricate myself. They would ask a question. They go, "Oh, really? Why do you think that?" And I'd go, "You know what? I don't know. Somebody told me to say that."
It's teed up. You got a stomach flu. You can run to the bathroom, man. Like, I got this thing. I gotta go.
Okay, I'll try it.
All right, guys, go see Joe at Repticon Tampa. Go see good friends Sarah and Josh at Sundog Serpents. Joe, it's been fun. A little philosophical meandering always does me well on Thursday mornings, especially when it's about business and friends and snakes. And we had great audience today too. I think this one checked a lot of boxes, man. I appreciate
and thanks for participating, everybody. I really enjoy these Thursday mornings.
So have a great day, Joe. I'll joking aside, I hope you get feeling better. You're going to Repticon with Jay? Is that true, or are you going solo?
No, I think I'm going solo on Sunday. Yeah. So I'll be there. I might try and get Chelsea there. I'm not sure.
Man, you
Raleigh,
gotta take a picture if you do, please.
Raleigh has a performance at 2 p.m. So it's down in the same areas, I think.
Cool.
So I'm going to go to Repticon and then go over to Raleigh's performance.
Oh my gosh, that would be a paradigm shift. What was that show? Twin Peaks. Just whole new. If you got Chelsea to walk in that room, my man, that would be. I hope you pull it off, man. I would love to see that. So yeah, send us a picture. I'll post it on Instagram, man. Let me see what you get on there. So have a great week. I can't wait to see you next week. I don't know what our topic will be, but we'll figure it out. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Have a great Thursday today.